Nice.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I always give a minute for that to sink in. And I'm looking at the very reflective faces on my screen. Yeah, I think it's there. Almost. There we go. Okay, good. I just want to remind everybody that I am recording the meeting today so that people can view that later if they need a makeup. And with that, I don't think we have any guests today. Are there any guests? No, I don't see any. I'm scrolling through the agenda. Nope, no guests. So birthdays. I've been waiting for this all frickin' week. Is Sam here?
Was.
Oh,
Is Sam Simano here? Yes. Is she?
No, I don't see Sam Simano.
Oh
I
my
don't see her.
God. That is, oh, she wrecked my day. I'm gonna call her. So anyway, last week we had a ton of birthdays. Connor Davis's birthday was on the 7th, and by the way, Connor, congratulations on your Apple Award last night. So when we get to Happy Bucks, I'm gonna throw in some dollars for you, brother. And then Ryan Matheson, your birthday was last week, and Don Iverson and his wife Eve, their birthdays were last week. Sam Lowe's birthday was last week, and Sam Simano sang for all of them. And then Sam's birthday is on Monday, and I was going to have everybody sing to Sam today, and I can't even imagine what that would have sounded like. I mean, all the practice that we've done and all the work that we've done and prepared to sing her birthday, and then she's not here.
Hey, Ken, we still can because this is being taped.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So
My big mouth.
Yeah.
so I think we should. So even if Sam's not here, she can watch it later. So I'm going to give you the count of 1 and 2 and 3, and then we're going to sing happy birthday to Sam Simano. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sam. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Where's Frank Sinatra?
that was
Sounded
terrible.
like a bunch of drunks on an Irish night.
Hey guys, it's my 7-year-old's birthday today, Nathaniel, and all that he asks is that we don't sing that bad later on for his.
Oh, happy birthday, Nathaniel. That was
Happy birthday.
That's a group fine if I ever met one.
Look at that.
Nancy O'Brien is back.
Hi, Nancy.
Hey, happy birthday, everybody.
Nancy.
What happened to your voice?
Nancy, come here. Come and say hi to everybody.
Hi, Nancy.
Nancy.
Morning, Nancy. Hi.
That makes the picture look a lot better.
O'Brien.
Have a great Friday, everyone.
If you're Nancy, who's that other guy?
Who's that man you're with?
Yeah, who is that man? Happy Friday.
Go see my kids. Bye.
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 Okay, I would
Sorry, I have to be here.
I would be remiss, and I'm sure this is a big fine for me today, but I would be remiss also if I didn't point out that it's also Mayor Brett Gailey's birthday on the 27th. He'll be 35 again. 35 again. Spouse birthdays. Bev O'Reilly's birthday's on the 25th. Gary, you remember? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Right on. And Lance Carey's birthday's on the 28th. All right.
Yep, got it.
Do you need me to order something for her? Or?
No, we're good.
Okay. Another halibut dinner. Okay. Rotary anniversaries. You guys knew that DJ's anniversary for Rotary was last week. 18 years on the 13th. So
Wow.
that's all of our preliminary
Woo.
stuff. I know it, 18 years. Gary, Secretary's report.
Most of the same. Reminders, board meeting on the May 13th. And then the reminders that the district has a bunch of club training fiestas happening throughout the month. You can get a list that Ken showed the other day. You can get it on the website of the District 5050. And then the district conference is May 14th and 15th. And then Golf Fund is on, hey Ron, Golf Fund is on September 17th. And they're actually doing it this year. Ron and I played the last couple of years, and because it was just he and I, we played with the same two Canadians, and although we never came close to winning, we had a hell of a good time.
Hey, we shot under par. That's all that matters.
Yep, that's right. And as Ken reminded everyone, all of the meetings that have been recorded are being uploaded to the YouTube account. So if you want to do a makeup, you can always do that. Just if you do a makeup, just let me know that you've viewed one of the meetings. Doesn't matter which meeting, and I can give you a makeup. That's it.
Thank you, Gary. I'm going to put the Rotary Fiesta, training fiesta out from the foundation in the chat. So if you want to access that, you can. It's open to anybody. So that's good stuff. All right. We are on to Treasurer's Report. Chris Valla, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So everything's looking pretty good. We got a couple more dues that came in. So I think we're getting that tightened up, and that's pretty much it for today. Short.
You're short or the report short? Yeah, just adjust your camera. There.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My report is, I want to remind everybody that we're kind of looking at, we are looking at the 14th of May as a return to some in-person meetings for Rotary. It will be a hybrid situation where we will be able to have people who are not comfortable returning to in-person able to access our meeting virtually. We just had our first school board meeting live streamed this last Wednesday, and there were some technical glitches, but by and large it worked pretty well. I think there's some things that we're going to work out, and I've already talked to our tech person here, and I think that we're going to be able to do that pretty well. I also want to work with Angie on that, because I think there's some things where we will want to see the audience and make it a little bit more interactive than what we had on Friday or on Wednesday night. So I'm working on that. I haven't forgot about that. So what I will need at some point in time is to know how many people would plan on attending, so that when we set the room up, we'll have a pretty good idea of how many seats we'll need, because we'll need to tend to it. The at least 3-foot social distancing, and it'll feel funky, and 6 foot, if we can accomplish that. And then coffee is the only thing that will be served. We won't be serving any breakfast. So any comments or questions about that? What we're planning for the 14th?
And masks, I suppose.
Masks, social distancing, hand washing, all the CDC rules will be enforced, yeah.
What about hand wringing?
Little hand wringing when you get the podium, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so just wanted to let you know that we are planning that. I did put the link in the chat to the Rotary training. So if you want to access those trainings, there's some good stuff in there too, if you have time. So that's my report. Lori, past president's report.
Yeah, I'm still past president, so that's good. Nothing else to report. Everything's looking good from my point of view.
Awesome. Well, it's better than being passed out, President. Good stuff. I didn't see Rochelle on. Is she on? She's probably selling my house. And I didn't even know about it. It's a surprise sale. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports, club services. Keith, is Keith here? No Keith?
Oh, breakfast report, huh?
Well, I had for breakfast a protein shake. So if you guys wanted to know that'll substitute today. That's not very exciting though. Keith has way better breakfast than any of us.
What kind of protein?
Well, it was powder, and then I had raspberries and pineapple
Wow.
and some greens in there. So that's what I had for breakfast. I choked that down. No problem. Community service, Eileen.
Yes, I sent some information to you guys, to Gary and Ken about the farmer's market. Other than that, I have zero.
Zero?
Nothing to report. Nothing to report.
I hope you have more than zero when it comes to dollars. Let's see, where are we at here? Membership, Ronald.
Not much to report. I missed the last couple meetings. Good to be going back to in person somewhat. And the last meeting, the board did approve Brian Ruitz's application. So he's a new member. So if you haven't reached out and said congratulations to him, please do. And that's about
Ron, what's our total membership number?
I couldn't tell you. I asked my secretary, Gary.
47.
There you go.
Wow. Awesome.
And we still got 2 or 3 other candidates out there that we're working on.
How many was that, Gary? I missed that.
47.
Wow.
That's a hell of a long ways from when you were president and I was president.
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, there's some advantages to having a hybrid, well, a distance ability to jump on from your home. It increases probably attendance because there's always, you know, there's always barriers that jump up that keep people from actually coming in. So having that option is pretty cool. But at the same time, I think we all kind of want to get back to some in-person. So having that as an option too will help, I hope, keep people engaged. There's a couple members that I'm reaching out to because I haven't seen them for a while. One of them's Larry Rubel, and I haven't even talked to Larry for a little bit of a time, and I know he's been very busy and the timing just hasn't matched up. So I just want to touch base with him and get him returning to meetings.
He did send me a note recently saying that his schedule, you know, he had a conflicting schedule.
Yeah, I got the same note.
Yeah.
But I just want to touch base with him a little bit.
I think he may be paid up too, so.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He says he wants to continue. It's just been a lot of stuff. As a school psychologist working with students from a distance, it's been challenging. But now that we're back in person, it has its own set of challenges too. So, but he'd like to get back, so I'll get in touch with him.
We need to talk to Marcus as well to see if he is still interested.
Yeah, he does not like the video thing. I've talked to him a couple times, and he did show up once after I caught him in the hardware store and slapped him around a little bit and told him to coming to meetings. But I think once we come back to in person, he'll be there. Is what I kind of feel about that.
Hey, Ken, I know he's really busy, but what about Sean Fredericks?
Yeah, I haven't reached out to Sean. Is anybody?
Well, he's probably so busy with all this COVID.
Yeah, he might be the most busy person on the planet.
I'd be willing to reach out to him just to check in with him and say, hey, and so I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time I heard from him was several months ago when he said that he was just swamped and until things got better, he still wanted to stay.
Okay.
But still, I think you need to reach out to him, Jim.
I'll follow up with him, Gary. Thanks.
Great, thanks.
Is Tracy on?
Nope.
All our committee reports are falling by the wayside today. Interact, Kristen, I see you.
We had a short Interact meeting this week. We're going to take next week off just so we can get used to the new schedule at school. But the kids made posters that we hung up in the school. And last night, our Yale people attended their first Yale night, and Judy said it was fabulous. So I'm really excited about it. Poor Josie had track yesterday, so she literally ran from track to get back home in time. Oh God.
Thanks, Kristen. Sorry, I was muted. Vocational services, Lance.
All right. Well, our original deadline for scholarship applications came and went, and Kim Fortune was correct. We did receive a flurry of applications last Friday.
Wait till the last minute?
Yeah. So as it stands now, we have 9 college-bound applicants and 1 vocational applicant is all, which is lower than last year, but more than what we had when I reported last Friday. And we have more judges than applicants. So I've got 13 people that volunteered to be judges. So thank you guys very much for that. So looking at our time frame, today is the new deadline. I've not seen anything more this week except for following up with some students who had pieces missing to their applications. So my intent, I was going to try to get things out to the judges on Saturday to start reading and scoring, which is still my goal, but I now have an appointment for a vaccine on Saturday morning. So it may be late. Angie, are you on?
No, she's not on.
Okay. So I'll work with Angie and we'll try to get those packets out as soon as we can. I am thinking we will do Zoom interviews again this year. Our interview dates that we have set aside is May 5th. And we'll see if I can get that scheduled. I'll send another email out asking for people who want to be part of the interview committee. And then when you're talking about going back to in-person meetings, Ken, we had tentatively put on our schedule May 21st as the awards breakfast if we want to go forward with that. Ken, do you have any input? That might be a bigger meeting and harder to socially distance. Should we, what's your thoughts?
I'm thinking my thoughts are that we might be able to have the meeting in person, but the candidates will probably need to appear virtually.
Okay.
If we can swing that, I think that's probably the way we'd want to work it. So
okay,
that we can see the candidates on this big screen, and whoever's going to narrate their bio and talk about them would be in person so that we could have a two-way screen that way. Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
And breakfast is just out. I don't think that.
Right.
I mean.
All right. Well, I'll work with the committee on that, and we'll make some plans. And then, have you heard anything about scholarship night? I haven't heard anything from Kim.
No, but that's usually like one of the first weekends in May. Typically, don't we have that right before we have our breakfast? Yeah, so I imagine it's. I'll find out and get back to you.
Well, I'm talking back and forth with Kim as well, so maybe I'll find out from her today.
Okay.
And that's it. Thanks everyone for all your help, and thank you in advance if you're a judge, and read those applicants and score them and get them back to me. I've got the master scoring sheet all ready to go.
Awesome. And past President Sam Lowe has asked for some time this morning. Sam?
So
back in 2013, I put forward a scholarship each year. And so for the 9th year in a row, I'd like to give a $1,000 check for our scholarship for a senior at Lake Stevens High School. So I just wanted 30 seconds to share that today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sam.
Sam. That's awesome.
That is fantastic, Sam. Very generous. And I'm a senior citizen. Do I count?
Nope, sorry.
Gosh, darn it. All right. Rochelle's not here for public relations, and I don't see Sleepy Jim on. Does anybody see Sleepy Jim?
No.
Sign her up for Foundation. It's only 4 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii. I can understand that he might not be up.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, you're never sleepy, Jim Steinrock. You're the least sleepy person I know.
You're just creepy.
Oh,
Hey, that's a fine right there.
Shot fired.
Defamation of
That's
character.
hey, you know, and if I get to rhyme, I'll pay $1.
Dick's
That's
wanted
good
to know.
You're looking more and more like a rock star every day, David.
Yeah, too bad I can't play like one.
Yeah.
Well, you're up, Mr. Sergeant at Arms. It's fines and happy bucks to you.
Well, okay, thank you. How is everybody today? Good morning.
Good morning,
morning.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
All right, that's pretty good. So I guess I just find myself, so we're starting with me. Yeah, $1 for my creepy comment. $1. I don't think I left indivisible out.
Yes, you
Did I
did.
really?
Yeah, no, you did.
All right, then I'll
Might
pay
have done it
$1.
okay at your end, but not our end.
How about $1
right.
for the creepy hair?
Sure, put $1 in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Gary. I'll put you put $1 in for my creepy hair, and I'll put $1 in for your lack of hair.
Can I borrow some of your hair?
Sure.
Maybe we should all pitch in $1 so you can get a haircut.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't do that. I've gone rogue.
I heard I heard several of the containers on the Ever Given were full of hair that were being sent for synthetic hair and synthetic wigs. And I was just wonder if we shaved Dave's head and took up a collection to do that, how many containers on the Ever Given it would fill up.
All of them.
Oh, at least 3.
Yeah.
Now I've gone rogue. My rebellious streak is coming out.
Great.
Just gonna let it go. See how long it takes till it hits the floor.
Yeah. Just be careful of the weight. It'll hurt your neck eventually.
No doubt. All right. Well, let's continue with our fight. Do we have a speaker today?
We actually have multiple speakers in recording, so need about 25 minutes.
Okay. Good enough.
And then
So let's.
for comments from folks afterwards.
Okay. So let's move on to our first group fine. I've been a member of this club now for, I want to say, 13 years. And in those 13 years, today's rendition of Happy Birthday was by far the lamest ever. So I think everybody's got to have to put $1 in for that.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
It's hard to argue.
And then moving on to the next group fine, I'm going to make this extra easy for people. It's Blue Friday, but today it can be either Seahawks or Mariners. So if you have neither Seahawks nor Mariners, it's going to cost you $1. See that right there? Well, let's see. There it is right there.
There's mine right there.
Let's see. Show it to the camera.
What about the crack?
What about the what? What about
The crack.
you're breaking up. That's a dollar to break it up.
He's saying, what about the Krakens, the hockey team?
Are they blue?
Yeah, same
Yeah,
color.
look at his shirt.
Same color as the
Oh,
Seattle.
okay. Well, Krakens, that's cool. That counts.
Way to go, Connor.
Cool logo.
All right, let's see. Who else was getting fined along the way here? Ken, I think you were getting fined for something. I just don't remember what it was. Would you care to fill in the blank?
I don't remember. Oh, I know. It was for my poor memory.
Okay, fair enough.
There.
Well, we need 25 minutes for speakers, so let's just jump right into Happy Bucks. I'll be a happy 5 for this unbelievable stretch of awesome weather.
And I'll contribute 5. The high schoolers and Cavallero students are going to start going back to school on Monday. And so my Department of Transportation is ready for that. And we're looking forward to getting those students back into class.
I'm gonna give 5 to that too, James. I think that's awesome.
And I've got a $5 happy dollars for Connor Davis being an Apple Award winner on Wednesday night. Congratulations, Connor. Well
Yes,
deserved.
bravo.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll give a happy 5 for.
On that note, I've got sorry, Chris. Just gonna say I've got 5 happy bucks. My son Nathaniel, his 7th birthday. Kind of the run up to the anticipation once again to have students back in class on this coming Monday. It's another $5 and make it another $11. So 21 total. 11 years I've been married to my wife Heather. We just celebrated our anniversary. So 21 total bucks.
Awesome. Cool.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to be happy about.
I'll give happy 5 for Happy Friday and the great weather and what everybody's doing this weekend. Have a great time. So there's 5.
Happy 5 for the sunburn I got yesterday.
Yeah, happy 5 for the sunburn I got on the golf course the other day and didn't do too bad either.
There's $1 on that card for you.
I have a happy 5. This is Jim. Our granddaughter Elle will turn 3 this weekend, so we're having a party for her in a couple of weeks, and then our daughter-in-law is having her 40th or 30th birthday this weekend, so we're having a party for her. So fun birthdays in our family.
Hey, I got $1 for Chess stealing the screen here. Everybody say hi to Chess.
Hi, Chess.
Is that dog seat belted in?
Who's actually
what?
Is that dog seat belted in?
Yes. The seatbelt is my arm. She's the co-pilot.
Popcorn on the floor here.
I'm going to throw in another buck because I'm excited to see that Gina has joined us. It's been a long time, so welcome, Gina.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was.
I got a happy 5 because it's good to see Joyce Bell. Joyce, how are you? Good to see you. And then I'm gonna stack on another 5 because it was super cool. Gosh, about a week ago, maybe over a week, Sam and Susan Del Bene went to the vaccination site and visited it, and it was good to see them out there. It's good to see that vaccination site going. Thanks, Ron, for that. We're getting about 2,000 a day there, Ron. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, not quite average that, but we can do more. Just give us more vaccine.
It's really cool.
Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
All right, we'll turn it over to Don Iverson. Don, I made you co-host. You can play your the video through the screen if you'd like.
All right, that would be good. Just a reminder, if folks could be on mute during the presentation, that would be a good thing. So I am going to, first of all, share a screen. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned in the meeting last week, there was a interesting 2-hour presentation on, yes, April 8th about the, really, it's not even proposed anymore. It's pretty much a moving project for our new Civic Center, which will be primarily the city hall offices and the library, but also our sewer district is planning to relocate there as well. The meeting again was 2 hours, and I thought it would be very interesting to take the kind of the most detailed 25 minutes of it and present it, because it includes 3 options that the city is looking for input on. They want the input by the 22nd, which is before our next meeting. So just wanted to throw that out, and if anybody does have input as to which of the 3 options they think would make the most sense. And at the top of the screen, I have a website, which is just basically through our city website. And it has the full presentation, PowerPoints, videos, whatever you want to look at. So go there if you want more information. Just a little bit of background on the project before we get going. This slide shows the site, and it's on the west side of the lake. And to kind of clue you into it, that larger white rectangle just above to the left is Target. And the street that's curving around to the bottom of the project site is Marketplace, and the street that is on the right-hand side is 99. And these are just a few visual images that the architect put together. These aren't necessarily related to this project, but kind of gives you, kind of a sense of what they're envisioning as they're talking on this video that I'm going to be playing. And one of the things that I mentioned again last week that I thought is important to us is it'll be another location for some significant meeting spaces. And this again is probably from a different project, but gives us another alternative for events that we might want to have. So with that, I'm going to go to the video. First, I'm going to stop that share, and I'll share that. And here we go.
All right, so we have 3 site alternatives tonight we're going to share with you. And we wanted to make all 3 of them very distinct in some way in order to bring up a certain series of concepts that we can discuss, that you can discuss in the city. Give us your input, and then we're going to blend all the best ideas from all of them into a preferred site alternative. That's ideally how it will go. So all 3 of these have a real distinct approach to the site that all honor the wetland buffer and understand how we're going to mitigate for any impacts we have in that buffer, keep that existing vault, and then work with some of the concepts we had where we're really trying to reach into that woodland on one side of these buildings and reach out and form a real civic face on the other side. This is alternative 1, which has a really nice south-facing main entrance. So it's really readily visible from 99 or from Marketplace and 99. Great solar access to the outdoor public spaces. And it also kind of has a linking space between a 2-story city hall on the left and a 1-story library on the right. Between those is a zone that we can share some spaces, potentially a community kitchen that links between the big meeting rooms in the library and the city hall. Public meeting rooms, smaller public meeting rooms, all the things can be shared to varying degrees within that zone. That's also where you would enter. So that kind of blending gasket is a big part of this concept. As you can see, this concept uses both the city parcel at the north. It's sort of the north dog leg up there, and gives us a little bit more space for public outdoor space. We've got the parking sort of linked along the south and east side, so it's easy access, uses potentially some of the existing curb cuts there if possible, and really makes in and out access and fire access really simple. But we think you won't just be looking at a parking lot when you come in here. We're going to have the ability to provide some green buffers to really kind of mask that parking from outside the site. And Emily will take you through this one.
So for all the site alternatives, the character images to the right can apply to each scheme, but the diagram to the left will highlight where potential collection of water and people could occur. So this building scheme, like Mike says, creates the opportunity for a large south-facing gathering space paired with a more intimate gathering space to the north of the building. All of the stormwater is shed, collected, and treated along the street frontage, while there are smaller moments of play and learn weaved through the wetland buffer and adjacent to the library building.
And here's all that kind of stitched together into a drawing that gives you a little bit more sense of scale and kind of texture and feel. Just to give you a sense of scale, you can see the parking stalls down there. It's a double loaded parking lot. So imagine a little car in each one of those slots. The little dots kind of walking in the front door are people. So that gives you a sense of the size of this and how it kind of would feel out there on the site maybe a little bit. Showing that glacial erratic moved over here, if that's possible, we'd love to do it. It's off the vault, so it wouldn't be crushing that vault, which is sort of the red rectangle under there. And maybe that would just anchor that corner of the public plaza and really make it kind of a permanent space, a place that really means something to the town. You can see we've kind of developed this green buffer along the south edge here. Pretty key corner at the southeast, down at the bottom right of the site, where people eventually, coming up from the lake, if we could ever get a nice pedestrian link down there sometime, that'd be the place people would be arriving from. So we want to really welcome people on that corner and give them a couple of options for entering the site from there. So maybe on the left there, a bridge over the wetland that kind of safely crosses the parking lot, a raised area so that, it's a safe crossing onto that big public plaza that can have 10 by 10 tents for farmers market or craft fairs or art fairs. You can have events out here that have nothing to do with City Hall and Library if the town so chooses. It's also a great place to meet somebody and sit out in the sun on a sunny day. Plenty of bike parking. It's a really good gathering space, and you can kind of see that learning trail going out into the nature side, the green side, giving people a chance to kind of walk out there in the woods and glimpse over into the wetland. I forgot, Claire, I'm sorry. We've sort of arranged all of these with these dials, so we can, at the end, we'll be able to compare all of them a little bit on various thoughts. One is agency partnership. So how much can the library and city partner by sharing spaces? This alternative one has a really high level of that because of that shared zone in the middle, and that the two parts, almost two wings of one building. This one does a really good job of being sensitive to the wetland. It is impacting small portions of the buffer, but easily those are mitigated on other parts of the site. Great exterior public space, a nice large outdoor sunny space. This one, all these cluster pretty tightly on cost. We'll see that later. This one is slightly on the higher end, just because the library is one story and the city hall are two, and it's a little bit spread out, although it's still one building, so it's still pretty efficient, pretty compact. It just uses the entire site, both sites. So there really isn't any private development potential here because we're kind of using both the library and the city-owned parcels on this one. So that leads us to site alternative 2, which came out of questions from site alternative 1. How could we still keep the library-owned parcel to the north available for private development so that the proceeds from that sale could help reduce costs on the project? So this one has that advantage where we have about 1.5 acres up there on the top, or 1.3 acres, I think, up on the top, and Bob's going to talk about that later. To really be able to sell off as a private development that would go through, city design guidelines and all that, wouldn't be exactly part of this project, but would help fund this project. So we wanted to see if we could get this whole thing onto the city-owned parcel. And in order to do that, we basically took the 2-story city hall and placed it up on top of the library, and then put the shared space off as a 1-story element alongside that. So this is essentially a 3-story building, which we think with the green buffer out front and having it tucked partly into that woodland there will be just fine for scale. It won't be too imposing, especially when we settle a nice 1-story shared space in front of it and have the public outdoor spaces to kind of mitigate the size of the 3-story building. So this really is a super compact, but we think still works really well if you choose to go this way. The parking gets to be a lot more percentage of the site because we're so compact. So we have a little bit less chance to bring some of those bigger green spaces across, but we still have some chance. We can still blend it. And so let's see what Emily has to say about the site part of this.
Yeah, so as Mike mentioned, the more compact site design has the building and the parking lot taking up a lot of the site. However, there's still the opportunity for a large gathering space that's south facing, that's also facing kind of the city gateway in the front of the building, as you can see that big orange rectangle. And then there's still an opportunity for a smaller gathering space on the woodland side related to the library and the shared space. And there could be opportunities like alternative 1 for these play, learn, pause points throughout the buffer. In this scheme, we're shedding the parking lot to 99th and to the center to kind of treat and hold that stormwater and that rainwater. And so because this building is taller, like Mike was suggesting, that on the corner of Market and 99th, we're trying to screen, so you're seeing trees connecting to the buffer behind the building.
And here's that sort of texture drawing of this scheme. So you can kind of see a little bit more of the scale and how it might feel out there a little bit. We haven't studied the architectural expression at this point. We're really looking at site strategies right now. So later we're going to come to you with the preferred alternative and give you a sense of what it might feel to walk up to this building. At this point, we're not at that level. We're really just trying to really look at it from above and understand how it fits on the site. So yeah, as you can see here, that shared space, that kind of bump out on the south, on the lower part of the bar there, that single-story space, that could be the big meeting rooms for a city and library, and potentially they could be right next to each other and open onto each other. We think we could do that in the other scheme as well, alternative 1. But those rooms can really open out onto that kind of forest outdoor space Emily mentioned on the left, that circular space, or out to the main public plaza on the right. So that really gives us a chance to really open this thing up and make a real flexible combination of space. You can enter this building from the north and the south. So if you come by foot, you might enter from the south, coming off the bus stop there, or by bike. if you're coming by car and you're going to park, most of the parking is up on the north there, so you might want to enter from that north side. So we've looked and contemplated a two-way lobby there, and that gives you some flexibility for entering the building. And then I think that kind of covers it. We're going to shed our stormwater and reveal it as much as possible, so you can kind of see those green kind of moist areas when it's raining, and really give a natural feel to the edges of the site and kind of soften those edges. I should probably cover the scales on that one. I didn't get to that yet, Claire, sorry. This one, again, has really good agency partnerships, so the library and city can really share space here. This is really one building. So if you look down at cost, this one is doing a little bit better, a little bit less cost than the last one because we're sharing more of the building. There's less skin area. There's less roof area. There's one more stop on the elevator, but it's more shared. And so, yeah, this one really has maximized sharing between the two. Does less good on wetland sensitivity, but we still think we can mitigate it. I mean, the issue here is we don't have the library parcel to use for some of that wetland mitigation. So we're gonna have to get creative on how we're gonna mitigate the impacts past that buffer line, that dashed line. But you see some of the green space we placed over on the east side of the building on the right side to kind of help potentially take care of some of that. So this one will be a little more challenging for meeting those standards, but we think we can do it. Good, solid exterior public space, not quite as big as it was on alternative one, which used the library parcel, but still plenty big. I mean, that's a good solid 50 feet from north to south across that public plaza. Still has plenty of room for those little white 10 by 10 tents you can see drawn at the bottom edge there of the public plaza. So that'd be kind of like farmer's market day, or I know you have farmer's market on the other side, but kind of an arts and crafts fair or some kind of a public gathering where you use those little tents. And then this one has the highest level of potential private development because we can turn over that whole north site for private development for some proceeds back to the city. Okay, and so that leads us to another completely distinct way of using these two sites, which is completely separating them onto their own parcels. So in alternative 3, the library is built on its own parcel, and the city hall is a 2-story building built on its own parcel. On this one, they're going to be able to share some parking and stormwater infrastructure and face onto each other to kind of flank the two sides of our public outdoor spaces. But otherwise, for all intents and purposes, they're 2 separate buildings, 2 separate mechanical systems, and operate independently from one another.
So even though they're separate buildings, their central gathering space could be shared. And it's quite a big space here that could be pretty dynamic, where we mix in some rain gardens, we mix in some of the site geology, and it's just the same idea of this large gathering space that connects to both of the buildings. We have an opportunity to the north of the library on the woodland side to create that smaller gathering space related to the library programs. And here we still have the idea of screening the corner between 99th and Market, and also the idea of more connected play-learn spaces within the buffer. And because we're using all of the site, there's just more kind of site amenities available to us.
And here it is all kind of stitched together. You can kind of see, this is kind of indicating the idea of a mix of public outdoor spaces in between the two buildings, stormwater infrastructure, and green space. So it's kind of a blend of all those, The final design will probably look different than this, but the idea is that all 3 of those aspects are mixed in that central public area. You can kind of see how it leads out into the woodland and then feeds people in from the city side, that on the east side. So it kind of blends a civic space with that green space pretty well between there. You'd be able to see between these buildings into the woodland. That's an aspect of it we thought was pretty great. The dials here, this one has the least amount of agency partnership. It's got some because of shared parking and shared stormwater, on-site stormwater amenity. Wetland sensitivity, this one impacts pretty significantly into the wetland. But again, because we're using both sites, we have plenty of room to mitigate that and replant that buffer area and meet the requirements. Great big exterior public space. This one has some good south-facing sunny side on the kind of north edge of it where sun would come over the city hall and make it out to that north side. Some of it will be a little bit shady though in the middle of the day, that shadow cast by the two-story city hall. So there's a little bit of something we need to work through there to make sure all that space was usable on a sunny day. This one, because it's two separate buildings, has a little bit higher cost, a little bit more skin area. They're not sharing as much in terms of mechanical spaces, but like I said, all three of these cluster pretty closely on cost, and you'll see that in a little bit. And then this one has really the least amount of private development potential. We think we could carve out some small corners of this, maybe where the buffer is, the green buffer at the south edge, or up in the northeast corner where we could establish another small retail space or cafe or something like that, but nothing along the lines of a big private development of more housing or something to that extent. So this is a sheet we made that we kind of see as your cheat sheet. When you come in and give us comments on the survey, everybody might want to use this sheet as a great way to really compare these three and really look at them all in one place. So we kind of end our design presentation with this, just to kind of see them all together at one time, and encourage you to do that when you're answering the survey. And please let us really have it in the survey. Tell us what you really think, what you really liked, what you didn't like, and try to be specific. It's really going to be helpful to our team. We don't live there. I mean, I grew up in Woodinville, not too far away, but we don't live there, and we want to hear from you who live there what we should really be doing here to make this just right and fit just right. Yeah, all these scenarios, just to point out, alternatives 1 and 2 contemplate some sharing between the library and City Hall, which we think can make a more dynamic space and save on costs where possible. Alternative 3 really doesn't have that ability. They're two separate buildings operating independently. There's some advantages to that independence and some disadvantages in that we can't share as many of the spaces and cut down on the overall square footage.
Thank you, Mike and Emily. As I mentioned at the start of the presentation, we comprehensively evaluated the various public-private partnership or P3 opportunities, specifically the various delivery approaches to construct a quality project at the lowest possible cost to the public. And we've developed these cost estimates if the project were to be delivered or developed based more on a private sector delivery model than the traditional method of design, bid, build. The private sector model is one that is very collaborative between the developer, the designer, the contractor, and the owner. And it's structured, its structure allows it to achieve a lower cost. The delivery approach that we believe can achieve these lower costs would be from a progressive design build delivery approach and finance using tax exempt debt authorized by IRS ruling 6320. Glad to talk more about the various delivery approaches that we've examined if there are questions at the end of this presentation. But this visual showcases each alternative, its hard cost, its soft cost, and really the total development cost. The only cost excluded would be applicable to any of the agency's independent or own financing costs, which are really premature to identify at this point. But other than that, these are the full cost of a range of costs for alternative 1, alternative 2, and alternative 3. Next slide. So this slide compares that traditional design bid build, which is well known in the public sector and used predominantly for public sector projects, particularly projects that are below the ground. We believe that the cost, if you were to take a look at alternative 1, 2, and 3 and go forward with the design, bid, and then build, along with any cost overruns that might be applicable to that sort of method, you'd probably fall within a project cost of 25, 26 million and almost $30 million. And then so the other end of the bookend for in terms of cost is what we're calling the P3 delivery approach. And we believe you can achieve significant savings through that delivery approach for a total project cost, depending upon which alternative is selected, between 23 million and 24.4 million. Again, those are full costs. Those are costs identified for 2021. The previous slide had some escalation in terms of cost per square foot, depending upon when the project is built.
All right, I cut that off just as since we're getting close to the end of our time here. But there you go, alternatives. Any thoughts?
Hey, Don, I had a question for you. There was original talk about having the library on the south parcel and the city offices on kind of toward the north. Was there any discussion or presentation about that concept?
There was no discussion about that. So I'm not sure where that went, but I'm guessing it probably originated from the fact that the city wanted to have a 2-story building. The library was interested in 1-story. So it would make sense to have the larger footprint on the south parcel, but apparently that went away.
Okay. And then Larry asked the question about what is a P3 approach versus the traditional design build.
The P3 approach is, it stands for public-private partnership. And that's basically an approach where there's a developer involved, and it kind of streamlines the process, if you will, of building a project like this. A lot of times it's financed separately and leased back, to the city, that type of approach.
Don, a quick question for you as well. So that the option where it's the construction is on a smaller footprint, it seems like the advantage from what the architects were describing is that you had this additional parcel that could be sold for private use. I mean, coming from moving here from St. Petersburg, Florida, it was an area that had outside of I think San Francisco and Chicago, the most public green space per resident in the country. And here there's a huge lack of built out public green space, at least within the city. Do you think the city might go with the smaller option, smaller footprint, but then just to reserve that publicly owned lot for build out for a park, for more services to the city?
Interesting. I guess that's certainly an option. I think that the alternative 1 and 2 kind of build that into the project already. However, it is not recreational other than the little trails and the little kid play areas. Just more greenery around the buildings. But it seemed like the drive for that alternative, I guess it's alternative 2, excuse me, is the consolidated one, is to sell back or sell that property to the north and use that as a funding source.
Now, when I look at a like $25 to $30 million project, what would the valuation of that parcel be that could be sold back? It seems like it would be a forgettable fraction of the overall cost of the project. So it's like regrettable that the city is already even just having the discussion about selling private land or public land for private use.
Right. Well, and I actually was looking for a summary on that in the last slide, and it showed the comparable costs, and I didn't really get a sense that they included the sellback or the value of that property coming off the project costs. All the costs, right around that, what was it, 24 million, they all looked pretty close.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, just one last question, and then I realize we're running late on time. Does anybody know, and this is open, the old, and I know Chief Dyer's not here, but what are the plans for the old police station? I had heard that was going to be where the library was moving. I guess that's not the case if this is going to be the development. Or are we going to have libraries on two sides of the lake?
I think that's just a temporary holding spot to move the library there and the museum materials into the old fire station, and then once the library is built in the new spot, they'll move up to the west side, and I don't know what the plan after that is for that building.
Okay.
They're already starting to remove trees from the library parking lot. They're working on it right now.
Yeah, they're working on leveling the structure.
Right.
So was there some concern at one time the old police station that's vacant was starting to settle at one corner and having a problem with that?
Yes.
Right, that's why they're leveling it now.
Yeah.
So Ken, to answer your question, I have no idea, but we can ask Brett when we see him next.
Yeah, I may give him a call. All right. Any other questions? We're a little bit over today. Thanks, Don, for putting that together for us. That was very enlightening, and yeah, that was great.
Definitely. Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Yep.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.